Hello, welcome to Big Bang Radio Spotlights. This is a show where we talk to independent artists from all around the world all about their music and their process for making it. I'm your host, Isaac Anderson, and today I get to sit down with Nikita from the band Saint Nomad. Without any further ado, here's the interview. Well, Nikita, thank you so much for joining us today. We really do appreciate it. I want to start at the beginning of just your personal music career and your musical mind. And I know your brothers are part of the group too, but just on your personal behalf, what is your earliest musical memory?
One of my earliest memories of music is my dad playing a bunch of Russian cassette tapes of like Russian pop music, Russian rock music in our kitchen in Russia when we were just little kids running around, and he had this huge cassette player. And that was one of my first memories. I don't know, is that what you were asking?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. You remember the exact song that was on the cassette?
I don't remember the song. I remember the artist. It was a Russian artist who was very vocal against communism, and so the theory is he was killed. But anyway, he had a young career, and he died like in his mid 30s or maybe early 40s, I want to say. So his name was Telkov, Igor Telkov, but I don't remember the song specifically.
Just growing up, just you and your two brothers, Jan and Ruslan, who got into music first? Was it just all collective, like you guys just got into it all together? Or like, did one of you do it and it's like, look, I want to do that, you know, I'm just going to do it like him?
That's a great question. So because we're only a year and a half apart, all three of us, at our house, the day you turned 7, you had to start taking piano lessons with my grandmother, who was a piano teacher. And so we all started playing piano. And then over time, we kind of fell into our own instruments, like fell into our own, what we like to do. So I actually tried to play drums at one point, and I really, really sucked at that. And then I tried to do bass, and I was so bad at that, and guitar, that just never worked for me. But piano and vocals and writing, that was kind of what worked for me. And then at one point, Jan was playing saxophone. Jan then transitioned to playing drums. So I guess over time, we just kind of figured out our own places, but we all started at the piano.
In your mind, was there a moment that you really like sat back and like, this music thing's not just like a fun thing I'm doing, this is gonna be my career path?
Yeah, I think throughout my life, since I was a kid, like I would always love to read artist biographies and like who did what and why and how, and like just reading through different rock bands' histories and stories and like how certain songs were written. That always inspired me. Even when I was like 12 years old, I remember just consuming all these bios of these artists. And I wanted that so bad for myself. So although I can't point to one specific moment that was like, okay, we're doing this, I could tell you it was a lot of decisions throughout my life that I wanted to be an artist, no matter what it took, you know, whether I would sustain myself with my music income or I had to do something else but still write. Like, it doesn't matter to me. It didn't matter to me. And so I just pursued it full-heartedly because I can't not write. Like, I wake up every morning. This morning I woke up and I was writing. So it's like, it's a lifestyle to me. It's just something I bleed. And so you know, naturally when you're doing something so much, you start to surround yourself with people that are also doing it, and it just keeps growing. I've made my mind about you. I will always love you.
started the conversation on like we should start a musical project. We should do like a band together. Like who was the one that like initiated Saint Nomad basically?
It's tricky. It's a tricky thing because it's not like I wanted a band and I put up an ad in the newspaper, like in the classifieds or something like that, looking for band members. I grew up with my two band members, so we were all in the same house. Oftentimes we would share rooms. So it was just a natural progression of interests coming together. I have other family members. I have other brothers, and one sister, and maybe it was the age difference. I don't know, but like we never clicked on that musical level as much as I did with Rasan and Jan. And I think it's just an age thing. So when it came to like forming a band, I, it just was a natural progression. It's like, okay, I'm playing keys. We all can't play keys. Like we can't be just a keyboard band. And so it just kind of came together.
When I hear your music, there's a lot of soundscapey things. There's a lot of synth, a lot of keyboard stuff, but there's also a lot of organic instruments. There's like there's obviously acoustic drums, guitars, and you guys do a lot of vocals, vocal harmonies. And so your music's really rich in a lot of different forms of musicality. And I was just wondering, how exactly do you guys go about writing your music? Like, do you guys tend to just get in a room together and write stuff, or do you individually kind of bring stuff to the table?
Yeah, so our typical process, and we're starting to grow in more into other processes, but like usually I write a lot, and then I'll bring a bunch of ideas together. It'll be maybe 100 or so ideas, songs, choruses, verses, lyrics, melodies, work tapes, with me just producing my own work tape with like some kind of drum pad, or some kind of keyboard pad and some drums, samples, and just like a feeling. That's what I chase, is a feeling. And then the guys will then jump on and be like, oh, I like this idea. I don't like that idea. I like this idea. And then we come up with a collection of ideas. And then they'll start adding parts. So Jan will start adding drum parts. Ruslan will start adding synths and different keyboards and guitar parts, bass parts, that kind of thing. And then over the course of a couple of months, usually we have a song.
At the top of the interview, you mentioned you grew up in Russia. I believe you reside in the U.S. Where in the U.S. are you, by the way?
So I actually just moved to Florida. That's why I'm so tan. I'm actually at the beach in Lido Key in Florida, Sarasota, Florida. I've fallen in love with this area, and I've always been a nomad. That's why the band's called Saint Nomad, right? So I love to travel. I love to explore and live in different places. I lived in Denver for a while. I lived in Nashville for a while. I lived on the road for a while we were touring, and I just fell in love with the beach and the vibes out here. So I'm down south.
You just mentioned that you lived on the road for a while too. Like you said, you've always felt like a nomad, hence the name Saint Nomad. But just in your memory, do you have like a most memorable show that you guys have played?
I remember being at this festival. It's called Lifeline, and there were just thousands of people there, and it was just so much fun because the energy was so real and people were so excited. And, I really miss that, especially now with COVID. Like, we just played a couple of shows in Denver. We had a residency at a venue over there, and it was all socially distanced. People were sitting at tables. It was very different. And so that's probably one memory that of a live show that was just so energetic. People were it was really hot. People were taking off their shirts. People were just having such a good time,
You have a really cool discography, and it's all really well produced. And I was really interested to see that you guys self-produced your debut album. Recently, you guys have collaborated with a Grammy winner producer named Jakir King. And for those that don't know who Jakir King is, he's like this awesome producer. He's worked with Kings of Leon, Tom Waits, James Bay, worked with a lot of people. How was it working with him? Like, I know since you guys are so used to self-producing, like, how was it working with an outside producer, especially somebody as big as Jakir King?
Yeah, it was an incredible experience working with Jakir. It was so much fun in his studio, like such a good feeling, such a good vibe. And so we brought some songs and some ideas, and we kind of landed on these two. and he was just so professional, but also like gave us space to be inspired, and to try something new. I actually had recorded my vocals previously for the song, and then Jakir was like, "Let's try something new," and he pushed me a little bit, and that was really cool because I love what came out of that.
Heard that, heard that. Well, I want to hop onto your latest single right now, which is Stay. This one's full of a lot of the stuff that makes your music, and it's got all those great elements that make it super engaging, super fun to listen to. What was the process of making that like, and what does that song mean to you?
Stay is actually written from conversations we have with close friends and family, people that we love so much, but we don't necessarily agree with 100% on everything. And I don't know if there's any human out there that will agree 100% on everything with you, right? So it's just making the decision to love our differences and to choose to have conversations and friendships in the face of differences instead of just walking away. So that's what the song is saying. I promise that you can be honest because I'm going to stay.
Heard that, and that's a very beautiful sentiment. And if people want to listen to that, it's on all the streaming platforms right now. And if people want to keep up with what Saint Nomad is doing right now and even in the future, how can people keep up with you guys online?
On Instagram, it's just Saint Nomad. Also, our website, saintnomad.com. Those are probably the best ways to keep in touch with us.
Sounds awesome. Sounds awesome. Well, Nikita, thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate it. You're a super awesome guy, and we appreciate you taking the time out of the day. But got one more question for you before we end. I don't know if you've ever seen a Big Bang Radio spotlight before, but I'm a musician, but I also love film, and I believe those two worlds are pretty connected. And I believe musicians have a little soft spot for film that's a little bit closer than a lot of other people. So, Nikita, before we go, what's your favorite movie?
I think one of my favorite movies is Gladiator. I'll just be honest with you. Like, I love that movie. I love the cinematography. I love everything about it. So I'll go with that for this interview.
Thanks to Nikita for sitting down with us and talking all about Saint Nomad's music. If you want to see more interviews just like this, you can find us online at Studio 67 NCC. Thank you all for watching. I'm Isaac Anderson, and until next time, stay lovely.